I always believed that memories fade with time, that the sharpest pains eventually dull, that the ghosts of yesterday lose their power. I was wrong. Some memories don't fade, they wait. Some wounds don't heal, they rot quietly beneath the skin until something forces them open again. My story begins on a winter night that smelled of smoke and rain, the kind of cold that slips into your bones and makes you feel like you're walking through someone else's life. I remember standing in front of the old house where everything ended for me. I hadn't seen that place in 10 years. The paint had peeled off the walls, the windows were cracked, and the gate hung loosely like it was too tired to stand. Yet the moment I stepped closer, the memories returned so violently I almost stumbled. My past had been buried, yes, but not forgotten. And that night, for reasons I didn't yet understand, it called me back. It started with a letter. A black envelope slipped under my apartment door in the middle of the night. No name, no address, just a single line inside, written in handwriting I'd hoped I would never see again. You can't outrun what you owe. My hands shook when I read it, because I knew exactly who it was from. And I knew exactly what they wanted, me, back under their control, back in their cage, back in the life I ran from when I was 17. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the corner of my room, watching the shadows move across the walls, waiting for the sound of footsteps outside my door. But morning came quietly, almost peacefully, and for a moment I convinced myself it was just a cruel joke, until I saw the second letter taped to my window from the outside. You will return, one way or another. That was when the fear disappeared. Not slowly, not over time, but all at once. Burned away by something stronger than fear, rage. People think revenge is born from hate. It isn't. It's born from the moment you realize no one is coming to save you, that the only way to end the nightmare is to walk straight into the monster's mouth and tear it apart from the inside. I packed a small bag, just clothes, a flashlight, a knife I kept hidden under my bed, and the locket my mother gave me before she died. I looked at myself in the mirror one last time before leaving. My reflection didn't look scared. It looked awake, as if the real version of me had been sleeping all these years. The journey to the old town felt longer than it should have. Every familiar landmark twisted into something dark by memory. The abandoned train station where I used to hide as a kid. The ruined school with broken swings swaying in the wind. The empty streets that once echoed with laughter, but now felt like graveyards. Everything haunted me with versions of myself I no longer recognized. When I finally reached the old house, the front door was already open, as if someone had been expecting me. I stepped inside, and the wooden floor creaked under my boots. The air was thick with dust, but something else too. A scent I instantly recognized, bitter herbs and smoke, the kind they used the night they tried to turn me into one of them. My chest tightened, my ears rang, my hands went cold. I heard the whisper before I saw him. "Seraphina Vale, you came back home." His voice slid across the room like a blade dipped in honey. I turned slowly. There he stood, the man who ruined my life, the man who took everything from me before I even understood what I had. Elias Thorne. His face hadn't changed at all. Still calm, still unreadable, still holding a darkness behind his eyes like it belonged there. The same darkness he once forced into me. When I looked at him, every memory I had tried to bury came crashing back. The rituals, the bindings, the night they mocked me as theirs. But I wasn't 17 anymore, and I wasn't afraid. He stepped closer, his eyes studying me like I was a puzzle he had solved once but had forgotten. "You've grown stronger," he murmured, "but strength is useless when you refuse to accept your nature. You think you know my nature." I whispered. "You never did." He smiled faintly, almost pitying. "You ran from who you were meant to become, Seraphina, and now you've returned to finish what you started." "No," I said, my voice steady. "I returned to end what you started." Before he could react, I pulled the knife from my jacket. His smile only widened. "You're not here to kill me," he said calmly. "If you were, you would have done it already. You're here because you want answers." He was right. I hated that he was right. Because my revenge wasn't just about killing him. It was about understanding what he did to me, why he chose me, why he destroyed everything I loved. I needed the truth before I could burn his world to the ground. He gestured toward the stairs. Come, he said. You deserve to know how your story truly began. I didn't want to follow him. Every instinct screamed at me not to. But revenge isn't just violence, it's knowledge. It's uncovering the secrets that were used against you. It's taking back what was stolen. So I followed him into the darkness. And as the stairs creaked beneath our feet, I didn't know if I was walking toward my past or straight into the mouth of something far worse. But one thing was certain. This time I wasn't the prey. This time I was the storm they created. When I stepped onto the second floor, the air felt colder, as if the walls themselves remembered what happened here, and the memories still clung to them like frost. I could hear my own heartbeat echoing in my ears. Elias walked ahead of me with the calmness of someone who believed he still owned me, still controlled the pieces of my life like a puppeteer. The hallway was dim, the wallpaper torn, the lights flickering in slow pulses like dying breaths. Every corner I passed seemed to whisper, you were here once. You screamed here once. You burned here once. I swallowed hard, forcing my legs to move. Elias stopped in front of a door, that door, the one they dragged me through all those years ago. My chest tightened painfully. I don't want to go in there, I whispered without meaning to. He glanced back at me, his expression unreadable. Yet you must. You can't kill a monster if you refuse to look it in the eyes. His words stung because they were true. He pushed the door open. A wave of memories crashed into me so violently my knees nearly gave out. The room was darker than I remembered, smaller. The ropes that once held me down were still scattered across the floor like dead snakes. Burn marks stained the wooden planks, scars from the night they pushed fire into my veins. I stepped inside slowly, the floorboards groaning under my weight. My breath caught when I saw the old iron chair in the center of the room. That's where you were bound, Elias said softly behind me. Do you remember your own voice begging for mercy? I clenched my jaw. I remember you watching, I said. I remember you letting them hurt me. He walked closer, his footsteps soft. I didn't just let them, he whispered near my ear. I ordered it. Every moment of your suffering was because of me. I spun toward him, my knife raised, fury burning in my chest. Why? I choked out. What did I ever do to you? He stared at me with something that looked disturbingly like regret. You existed, he said. That was enough. My blood went cold. You were born with a gift, one we needed, one we feared. You could see through us, you could break us, and the only way to control someone powerful is to break them first. I shook my head slowly. You were afraid of me, terrified, he admitted. You had a fire inside you, Seraphina, a fire even the rituals couldn't extinguish. And when I realized I couldn't possess you, I chose to destroy you. I felt something tighten in my chest, anger, grief, betrayal all mixing together. You didn't destroy me, he stepped closer, his voice low. No, he whispered, but I'm not the only one who tried. I frowned. What does that mean? He sighed, studying my face like he was searching for a version of me he once knew. The ritual that night, I wasn't the one who lit the fire. My heartbeat skipped. What are you talking about? He hesitated, then said quietly, the person who set you ablaze was someone you trusted, someone you loved, someone who stood beside you every day and hid their true allegiance. My stomach twisted. Who? I whispered. He shook his head. You're not ready. I grabbed his jacket and shoved him against the wall. Tell me. But before he could answer, something slammed into the window behind us, hard enough to crack the glass. A shadow moved outside, tall and contorted, its limbs bending wrong. A low growl vibrated through the room. My blood froze. They've found us, Elias whispered. The window shattered. Shards flew across the room. A creature crawled through, thin, long, twisted like broken bone wrapped in skin. Its teeth scraped against the wooden floor as it dragged its way toward us. Elias grabbed my arm. Don't move, he whispered. It hunts sound. but the floor groaned under my foot, just once, and the creature snapped its head toward me with inhuman speed. Its jaw cracked open wider than any human jaw should. It lunged. I dove aside, hitting the floor hard. Elias stepped in front of me, pushing his palm forward. A burst of dark energy shot from his hand, slamming into the creature and throwing it back into the wall. The creature shrieked, the sound piercing the air like a blade. Elias turned to me, breathing hard. "They're coming for you, for your power. You were supposed to die that night, Seraphina. Your survival changed everything." My head spun. Why now? Why are they after me again? "Because," he whispered, "your memories have started returning, and once you remember the truth, you become dangerous again." The creature lurched forward, faster this time. Elias grabbed my wrist. "Come, we can't stay here." We ran out of the room, down the hall, down the stairs. The house trembled as the creature crawled through the walls, its limbs scraping the wood like nails on bone. My lungs burned as we reached the front door. Outside, the cold wind slapped my face, grounding me for a moment. Elias looked at me with urgency in his eyes. "You want revenge," he said. "You want answers." "Yes," I breathed. "Then you have to accept what you are." "And what am I?" "You are the last veil seer," he whispered. "And they will hunt you until they finish what they started." Before I could respond, another shadow emerged from the trees. Bigger, darker, more familiar. My heart dropped because I recognized the silhouette even before it stepped into the moonlight. Someone from my past, someone I never expected to see alive, someone whose betrayal cut deeper than fire ever could. They stepped forward and smiled. "Hello, Seraphina." The voice said softly, "Did you miss me?" My breath trembled. It was my own sister, alive, changed, and standing with the monsters who tried to kill me. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. The sight of her, my sister, Leora, standing there in the moonlight, alive and twisted into something I could barely recognize, felt like a blade slipping between the ribs of my memory. I had spent years believing she was dead. I had mourned her. I had blamed myself for not saving her the night the fire swallowed everything. And yet here she was, staring at me with a calmness so unnatural it made my skin crawl. Her eyes were wrong. Too bright, too sharp, like someone had taken her soul apart and stitched it back together with darker threads. Elias stiffened beside me. "You shouldn't be here," he murmured. She tilted her head, smiling softly. "You always underestimated me, Elias, and you." Her gaze shifted to me, piercing. "Little sister, you survived longer than any of us expected." My throat tightened. "Leora, what happened to you?" She stepped forward, shadows curling around her feet like they welcomed her. "You happened to me." A cold smile touched her lips. "You were always the chosen one, the powerful one, the one they worshipped and feared, and I was nothing more than the shadow beside you." "That's not true," I whispered. "I loved you, love." She laughed softly, a hollow, broken sound. "Love doesn't matter when the world bows to one sister and ignores the other. I was invisible until the night they took us." The earth beneath us trembled. The trees shivered. Her voice darkened. "They offered me a choice, die with you or become one of them. And I chose life. I chose power. I chose to become part of the darkness instead of being devoured by it." Elias exhaled sharply. "You sold your soul." She shrugged. "A soul is worthless without a purpose." My stomach dropped. "You were the one." I whispered. "You lit the fire." Her lips curled into a slow, cruel smile. "Yes, I was." The world spun. My vision blurred. Elias grabbed my arm as my knees threatened to give out. She continued, her voice almost gentle. "You were too strong, Seraphina. They feared you would break the ritual, destroy the bond. You were unpredictable, wild, dangerous. I saw the way they looked at you, the way they whispered about your power. So when they asked who would deliver the flame," she pressed her hand to her chest. I volunteered. It felt like someone punched the air out of my lungs. "You tried to kill me," I whispered, barely able to speak. She stepped closer, brushing her fingers along my cheek like a mockery of affection. I succeeded, Seraphina. You did die, the girl you were burned away that night. What stands before me now is a different creature entirely. Something inside me cracked, not pain, not fear. Something deeper, older, waking inside my blood like fire breathing again. Why now? I asked, voice trembling with both rage and heartbreak. Why come back to me after all these years? Her smile sharpened. To finish what I started, to take what was always meant for me, your power, your gift, your destiny. Elias stepped forward, blocking her path. You won't touch her. She raised a brow. You think you can protect her now. You failed once. Their standoff electrified the air. Shadows twisted around Leora's hands, pulsing like veins filled with living darkness. Elias lifted his palm, a faint glow radiating from his fingertips. They were preparing to fight, but something in me snapped. Stop. I whispered. Neither of them moved. I'm done running. I'm done being a victim. If you want revenge, Leora, then fight me, not him, me. She smiled, delighted. Now that is the sister I remember. The wind howled, the sky darkened unnaturally. The ground trembled under my feet as if the forest itself understood what was about to happen. She stepped into the clearing. Shadow like liquid evil trailed behind her. I stepped forward too. My heart was hammering, but something inside me felt strangely calm, like this moment was mine. Elias whispered urgently behind me, Seraphina, you're not ready. You don't remember your power. I remember enough, I said. And I did. I remembered fire. I remembered pain. I remembered the way the world had cracked open the night I died. Leora raised her hand, shadows swirling into a blade. Like shape. Let me see what you've become, she hissed. She lunged. I moved instinctively, faster than I thought possible. The knife in my hand collided with shadow, and sparks of black and gold burst into the air. Her energy was cold, freezing, biting. Mine burned hot like molten iron. She pushed me back with a blast of dark force that sent me crashing into a tree. My ribs screamed, my vision blurred, but I stood back up. She laughed softly. You're still weaker. No, I said, I'm just getting started. Something ancient inside me stirred, something that had always been there waiting. My fingertips glowed faintly, heat rushed up my spine, the scar on my wrist pulsed with burning light. Leora's eyes widened. No, you can't, but I already had. Fire erupted from my hands, not like normal flame, but bright, white, alive, spiraling around me like it recognized me. The forest lit up as if dawn had arrived early. Leora screamed as she shielded her face. This is impossible, she hissed. You were supposed to lose that power when I burned you. I stepped forward, flames swirling around my arms like serpents. You can't burn fire, I whispered. You only wake it up. She let out a furious cry and attacked again, darkness spiraling toward me like a spear. I swept my arm through the air, and the flames obeyed, colliding with her darkness in an explosion that shook the entire clearing. The force threw both of us back. I hit the ground hard again. My head rang, my vision spun, but I forced myself up. Blood trickled down my forehead. My breath trembled, but my fire didn't fade. Leora staggered to her feet, trembling. You always took everything from me, she whispered. Now I will take what's left. She charged, so did I. The moment our powers collided, the world lit up with blinding light and choking darkness. Trees cracked. The ground split open. Wind howled like a living creature. It wasn't a fight. It was a storm we unleashed on each other. Her shadows wrapped around my neck. Cold, suffocating, I clawed at them, gasping for air. You should have stayed dead, she hissed. Maybe. I choked out, but I didn't. I forced every last piece of strength into my hand and struck my palm against her chest. A burst of white flame tore through her shadows, burning them away. She screamed, stumbling back, clutching her chest where the fire had marked her skin. She fell to her knees. Her tears glowed like dark crystals. Why, she whispered brokenly, why won't the world choose me? I lowered my knife. My voice cracked because you never chose yourself, Leora. You chose jealousy, you chose hatred, you chose to destroy me instead of fighting beside me. She looked up at me, eyes filled with grief, rage, and something almost childlike. It should have been me, she whispered. No, I said softly, it should have been us. Before she could answer, the ground behind her split open, shadows rising like hands ready to drag her into the abyss. Her power was collapsing, the bond she made with the darkness was breaking. She reached toward me suddenly, desperation shaking her voice. Seraphina, help me, please, and for a moment I hesitated. She was my sister, my blood, half of my childhood memories. But then I remembered the fire, the betrayal, the way she looked into my eyes as she lit the flame that killed me. I stepped back, her eyes widened in betrayal. No, Seraphina, no. The darkness swallowed her scream, then silence. I stood still, breathing hard, tears burning my eyes. Elias approached quietly, placing a hand on my shoulder. You made the only choice you could. No, I whispered. I made the choice she made for me years ago. The fire around me slowly faded, leaving the forest dim again. The battle was over, but revenge never ends cleanly. I looked up at the sky, black, cold, heavy. My past was gone, my sister was gone, and the monsters who created us. Their shadows still lingered somewhere out there. Elias stepped beside me. What will you do now? I wiped the blood from my cheek. I felt older, stronger, still burning inside. I'm going to finish it. I said, all of it. And after that, I looked at the place where Leora vanished. I don't know, but whatever comes next, it will be mine, not given. Not stolen, mine. The wind shifted, carrying the scent of smoke and earth. Elias nodded once. Then let's end the rest of them. I turned away from the ruins of my past and walked forward into the dark forest with him at my side. Not as a victim, not as prey, but as the storm. The revenge wasn't the end of my story. It was where it truly began.